In a trial that was rigged from the very beginning, where the presiding judge, Dan Patrick, took $3 million from those who were attempting to purchase the acquittal of accused Attorney General Ken Paxton, the Republican majority in the Texas Senate has voted to acquit on every single charge, despite the overwhelming evidence of Ken Paxton's corruption. It is clear now more than it ever has been before that the Republican Party, at least in Texas, is the party of corruption and impunity. And it is also clear that no one is going to come to ride to our rescue, that those in positions of public trust cannot be counted on to do their job. So it's up to you, it's up to me, it's up to every single one of us to join together and to make sure that we are the answer to this corruption and to this impunity. Click the link in the bio and join Powered by People. Make sure that you're part of the effort to mobilize, register, and turn out the voters who will take Texas in a much better direction.
If you were watching after the verdict, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, who presided over the trial, offered scathing remarks for the House, which started this whole process. Patrick, throughout the trial as judge, he doesn't have a law degree, he's never been a judge, and he made the effort to be impartial and certainly said that when he was at the dais, but he had prepared remarks that he read as soon as the votes were in and Paxton was officially acquitted and placed back into office as Attorney General of Texas, and he just slammed the House, called the process rushed, said it happened behind closed doors, and all of that jazz that we've been hearing criticism from from other conservatives throughout the last couple of months. I know a lot of y'all always ask about this. Yes, he did take $3 million before the trial from a conservative group. It was not Paxton himself. It was a political action committee called Defend Texas Liberty, which is run by a former state rep, Jonathan Stickland, and they do support Paxton.
We had no evidence that we could point to, but we had reasonable conclusions that we could draw.
You went to the FBI and reported the Attorney General of this state with no evidence. Do I have that correct? Did I ask it again, Mr. Vassar?
Please.
I want to get this straight. You went to the FBI on September 30th with your compatriots and reported the elected Attorney General of this state for a crime without any evidence. Yes?
That's right. We took no evidence.
Republican Party is just so corrupt. They will never hold their own accountable, whether it be Donald Trump, Clarence Thomas, or now this mess that's happening in Texas right now. Because earlier today, the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's a Republican, was acquitted by Republicans of corruption charges in his impeachment trial. Earlier this year, Paxton was impeached by the Texas State House, which included a lot of Republicans and Democrats over allegations of abuse of office and bribery. The articles of impeachment accused Paxton of accepting bribes from and giving legal assistance to campaign donor and developer Nate Paul while disregarding his official duties to the people of Texas. He was also accused of improperly firing employees who reported his actions to federal authorities, lying about his actions, and misusing government funds to dispute their allegations and more. And again, the evidence was so strong against this guy that his own employees, the people who worked for him, reported him to the FBI, and the Republicans in the Senate in Texas still acquitted him. They let him off. The evidence was overwhelming against Ken Paxton in this impeachment trial, and Republicans just turned a blind eye. They don't care. It truly goes to show you that the Republican Party will never hold their own accountable. Someone in their party could do something so wrong, so disgusting, so heinous, and Republicans will ignore it. They'll let him get away with it.
That's right. We took no evidence.
You applied for a job at the AG's office, didn't you?
I did.
Let's make sure we let that sink in. You applied for a job after this silly memo you wrote, didn't you?
Yes.
Let it sink in. You wrote this silly memo where you talked about potential violations of law, and months later you applied to work at the AG's office, didn't you?
That is correct.
And you know what the kicker is? Who wrote your letter of recommendation?
Margaret Moore. She wrote a general letter of recommendation that I could use with any employer. It was not specific for that job.
She wrote you a letter of recommendation. This whole thing should be dismissed. Don't you agree?
No.
Yeah.
So Texas is out here asking, what in the world can we do in the face of all this corruption? I'll tell you what you can do. The Texas House can go impeach Ken Paxton again. Yeah, impeach him again, and then he'll be out of office without pay while the Senate conducts another trial. You clearly have Republicans in the Texas House who do not want Ken Paxton in office. So keep impeaching him. If you can delay how long after you impeach to deliver those articles of impeachment to the Senate, then use that time as well. Keep impeaching him. And while you're working on that, you go impeach all of the officers that Ken Paxton picked for his office. Yeah, if you're going to go to war, go to war.
That's right. We took no evidence.
You told the House you could not speculate as to what relationship Nate Paul had with General Paxton. Isn't that right?
I stated that I believe that they were friends, yes. But I wouldn't speculate beyond that.
Yeah, that's all you know, right?
Yes.
Okay. One thing you do know, that you never were in the presence of General Paxton when he and Nate Paul made any kind of agreement. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
I mean, let's be clear. They've been throwing around this word conspiracy for literally a week and almost a half, and you were the man who was with General Paxton more than anyone else, and you can say definitively, you never saw Nate Paul and General Paxton reach any sort of agreement whatsoever. Isn't that right?
No, sir.
Is that right?
For the conversations I was privy to, that is an accurate statement. Yes, sir.
Okay. You don't have any actual knowledge that Nate Paul ever did anything for General Paxton other than buy a lunch. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Guys, it's happening. They are finally realizing that Ken Paxton is innocent and he did nothing wrong. Only thing he did was stand up for the Texas people, for the American people, and ensure that they did not steal any more elections. This is a win for Texas. He needs to be acquitted on all of these charges. These senators did the right thing because they knew that their career would be in jeopardy if they did not vote to acquit this man. A victorious day for the Patriots here in Texas. This is a great day.
Everybody has heard it, and guess what? The voters heard it too, and guess what? Ken Paxton won, hands down, resounding victory. He beat the latest in line for the Bushes. Let it be known, let it be clear now. The Bush era in Texas ends today. We thought it had ended in the primary when Ken Paxton beat George P. Bush 68-32. Well, we thought it was over. It wasn't. Well, now we have an impeachment. It ends today. They can go back to Maine. This is Texas.
That's right. We took no evidence.